And so, another year has come to a close. A year that was mixed for myself personally, just like every other year before this, and just like every other year will most likely be after this. Some good stuff happened, some bad stuff happened, and all of it led to this moment at the end of the year. Maybe, I'm recording this in the middle of November. There's still a month and a half of the year to go. We could all die in some way, shape, or form at some point still here, and then what I'm saying right now will not make any sense, but if that's the case, you will not be hearing what I'm saying right now. So, who cares? And at the end of the year, as is nowadays customary for this channel, I want to talk about some of the best media I experienced throughout the year. But this year it's gonna be a little bit different, because I'm not gonna lie, I did not like doing the first episode of this series back when I did it last year. It felt kind of forced, and I didn't enjoy it, so I wanted to change the format up a little bit. As you can see by the very well structured sentences that I am saying to you right now, I'm not scripted this time around. I want this to be a far more casual video than the scripted version that I had last year. I just kind of want to chill out and talk about videogames. Videogames specifically, actually, because this year, I'm not gonna lie, I played a bunch of games, but I did not watch any other media enough to warrant its own section in a video like this. So we're only gonna be talking about games this year. And those games do not have to necessarily be from this year, I just had to have played them this year. And also, I'm probably changing the name of this series to something else. It's not all bad, just, I don't know, it doesn't hit. I don't like it. I want to change it to something else, but I still haven't figured it out. You'll know what it is by the time this comes out, though, because by the time this comes out, I'll have come up with the new name, and it will be in the title of the video, or something like that. So, yeah, that's also another change. But, yeah, I wanted to change things up a little bit, do something a bit more casual, talk about video games in a more chill, unscripted manner. I'm not gonna mention every game I played this year because I don't have something to say about all of them, so I'm limiting this to the games that I have enough to say about for this video, but not enough to say about for like an entire big 40-minute whatever Superior video. But before we get into the chill recapping, I want to talk a little bit about what the future of this channel holds. Because if you didn't notice, I uploaded 2 videos this year, one of them being the best thing I've ever made and the other one being mid as hell. And that's because a lot of stuff started happening in my life this year, the biggest thing of them all being university. I'm in university now, which is very cool, however also very time-consuming. So after this video, for the remaining future, however long I keep doing this channel will be incredibly casual and fairly inactive because I want to focus on university. I want to focus on working on myself as a person, and I just in general want to focus on how to do the living of the life. I want to focus on stuff like that, you know, personal things in the future, and want to keep this channel to just like a casual hobby. So what that means is that you may not get more than like 1 video out of me each year, if even that. And the only video that I can promise you ever again in the future is the Walton Files video part 2. But other than that, I will not be uploading very much, if at all, on this channel from this point forward. And oh yeah, also I've stopped using social media almost completely this year. I'm very much offline nowadays and much better off for it. So yeah, all of those things combined mean that this channel will become very inactive, but that's not something you're particularly unused to because the frequency at which I upload videos has been decreasing slowly but surely throughout the past few years. But the good thing about this is that whenever I do decide to upload a video, it will at least hopefully be far better quality than some of the other videos I have made in the past, because I'll be able to dedicate way more time and way more energy and way more passion to those videos, because I'm not trying to get them out because of a self-set deadline over how many videos I need to upload during a given year. And that's the update. This channel will be going on the back burner pretty damn heavily for the foreseeable future. Let's get to talking about some games. I'm gonna be going through these in mostly chronological order, starting from the first game I played that year and then going on till the very last, or the game that I played the most recently as of the time that I'm recording this, aka halfway through November. And also, I'm completely winging this without like almost any notes on these games. I'm just going off of what I remember, and some of these games I played, well, almost a year ago, so my memory might be a bit hazy. Excuse that. I will try to correct things in editing if I say something that's incorrect or stupid. So let's begin with the first game that I played this year, which also houses one of the weirdly best memories I had for this year, which was Hollow Knight. So at the beginning of this year, like February or March or something like that, I got really sick, like 2 weeks of not being able to speak or move type of sick. And during this sickness, I looked through my Steam library just to check what on earth could I be playing right now. I need some kind of mental stimulation because I do not have the energy to leave my chair, and stumbled across my copy of Hollow Knight, which I've actually had for a few years, but I just refused to play it because it seemed like one of those games that you need to dedicate a lot of time for, and also I thought I was gonna be making a video on it at some point, and I was kind of saving it for maybe when I make a video about it, but then I realized that I don't really want to make a video on Hollow Knight because everybody's kind of said everything far smarter than I could ever say it, so I thought screw it, let's play through Hollow Knight, baby. I have nothing but time right now, so let's see how far I can get. And I think I played the game for like 50 hours during those 2 weeks, which might not sound like a lot to some of you, but bear in mind I was sleeping for most of the day, and the mere hours I was awake during the day, I spent all of it on Hollow Knight, and it was fucking awesome. Hollow Knight is such a perfect example of just how to make a good video game. Everything about it just works, to quote Todd Howard of Bethesda Incorporated. Is it an incorporation? I don't know. And I was just enraptured by it. The millisecond I clicked on start game, it was over. I was not going to play or do anything else on my computer until this game was finished. And 50 hours later, I was finally done with it. I don't have a lot to say about the game itself because, I mean, it's Hollow Knight, it's one of the best games ever made, and if you truly don't know anything about the game, it's Metroidvania where you're this bug and you go around this land of bugs exploring and finding different cool things and fighting enemies, and it's very exploratory based, so if you're not into that sort of stuff, this game might not be for you, but I also thought that when I first played this game that it wouldn't be for me, and it definitely was. It's very, very good. You should definitely try it if this sounds interesting. And I wanted to mention it here not necessarily because I wanted to be person number 1,753 to gloat Hollow Knight, but more so to talk about the really unique memory of playing through the game that made a pretty shitty beginning to the year feel a lot nicer. I think back at that sickness somewhat fondly now because it allowed me to play through this amazing game without me having to make any excuses to my family for why I'm not leaving my room for 14 hours straight. It's great. Play Hollow Knight. It's very cool. The next game I played was, I think, a few months later or something like that. I took a break from games until a big sale happened on Steam, and then I bought a bunch of games and played them back to back. And the first game that I played out of those games was Superliminal. You may have not heard of the game, but you've definitely seen it around YouTube if you were here during the 2020s. It's the cool optical illusion game where you pick up an object and then you move around your cursor and then the object is bigger or smaller depending on your perspective of the thing. And then you do a bunch of puzzles in the game, and that's Superliminal for you. Just a bunch of optical illusion mind-bending puzzles. And I liked it a lot. The game's about 3 hours long, and, well, I guess this is a mild spoiler, so spoiler warning, skip like 10 seconds ahead. The whole object scale mechanic is not the only gimmick and puzzle mechanic that you get to use in this game, even though the scale thing is the most frequently used one. And they've managed to fit a lot of really fun elements and environments and kind of a story into this 3-hour experience. And yeah, the story to me wasn't super strong, but the story also wasn't what you were there for. You were there for the fun puzzles, and goddamn were those puzzles fun, and they kept switching things up every once in a while still coming back. They didn't abandon any mechanics fully, at least from what I remember at any point. They did always bring them back in some way, shape or form, or combine them with other puzzle mechanics. It was a very seamless and smooth ride all throughout. I only played it for that 3-hour one playthrough period, but that 3 hours went by just like that. It was a very, very smooth and very cool and very satisfying experience that I can recommend to people who like puzzle games. It's a great game. And the next game I played was Florence. God, what a fucking delight! Florence was so goddamn cute, I loved it. And it's barely even a game, you also just experience the life and story of a young woman named Florence who falls in love for the first time. And this gets shown to you through beautiful artwork, incredible music, and some very small yet effective gameplay mechanics. And it's a brilliant example of showing things and not telling. There is not a single piece of dialogue in the game, yet you understand perfectly everything that is happening at all times. And the story that the game is trying to tell is not necessarily complicated, but even simple stories are usually really hard to convey without words of any kind. And the fact that Florence was able to do it for an hour and get me invested and emotional, it was incredible. I'm not gonna spoil things that happen in the story, what I explained to you about the young woman falling in love. That's all you need to know really to begin it. It's a super cheap game, it's only an hour, the soundtrack is gorgeous, the artwork is pretty, the game has been directed fantastically, you can see the vision that they had so incredibly clearly. And yeah, it's like barely a game, it's more of an experience, but what a good experience that is. If you're looking for something emotional to get sucked into for an hour with a little bit of interactivity here and there, then go play Florence. It's so cheap, it's so pretty. Oh, what a good game. I loved Florence. It's so nice. It's so good. Florence was so good. And speaking of emotional experiences, the next game that I played was Before Your Eyes, which is now in my top 10 games of all time. And I'm not gonna talk about it almost at all, because you just need to experience this game. It's one of those. I know everybody who talks about this game says that, but that's because it's true. I'm just gonna give you the basic concept of the game, very few of my thoughts, and then move on and trust that you go play this game because it's one of the best games ever made. So in Before Your Eyes, the entire point is that you control the game via blinking. You go through the life of this person from childhood to adulthood, getting shown various events and happenings of their life through their eyes. However, every time you blink in real life, the character in-game blinks, and the next time they open their eyes, they're in a completely different scenario. That could be a minute into the future, or years into the future. And that is all you really need to know about the game. The blinking mechanic feels incredibly tiny and insignificant, but let me tell you, it changes everything about how you experience the game. I've played a shit ton of VR and games that are trying to immerse you in this life, and Before Your Eyes is the most immersive game I have ever played, purely because of the fact that you control the game mostly by blinking. You wouldn't think it's that immersive, but it is. I was so into it the entire hour and a half to 2 hours that the game is. Again, it's not long and it's way more of an experience than an actual game, but holy shit, that experience is one of the best experiences I have ever had when it comes to video games. It's such a goddamn masterpiece. Oh my god, Before Your Eyes is so good. And also may have made me cry, which is the first time a video game has done that. And boy, was it deserving of that title of the first game that I cried to, because Jesus Christ. But I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. I'm not gonna hype it up anymore. Just go play it. I do not care if the concept intrigued you at all. Just go play it. It's so goddamn good. Moving away from that, but only slightly when it comes to experiences as opposed to video games. I like video games that are more so experiences than games, if you couldn't guess. I played through Firewatch, where you play as a man who escapes their city life problems to become a Firewatch god? Is that the term? Firewatch? Fire god? Firewatch person? I don't know the official term, I've forgotten it from the game. You become a Firewatch god person in the woods in the middle of nowhere, with your only social interaction being a fellow Firewatch god person talking to you over the walkie-talkie. Everything starts out fine until some mysterious things start happening around you that leads to a mystery that you need to solve throughout this about 4 to 5 hour game. And it was really awesome. Again, gameplay very minimal, but it did a really good job of sucking you into its world. The dialogue was some of the best I have experienced in a game in a while, and it kept me guessing about what could possibly be happening at all times. And also, the vibes of Firewatch towers and being alone in the woods have always intrigued me. I find that vibe incredibly appealing, so this game was definitely right up my alley. So if you like the vibes of being a Firewatch god tower person in the woods at the middle of the night completely by yourself solving weird mysteries, then Firewatch may be the game for you. Go buy it, it's great. It's been around for a long time, but it's still really solid as a video game. This next one's gonna be real short and sweet. I played A Short Hike during the summer, which is a game where you play as a bird and you take a short hike from the bottom of this island you live on or are on vacation on to the very tippy top of the mountain that this island has, interacting with the friendly people of the island along the way and helping them with various quests. And this game was one of the few games that actually got me to stop pursuing the main goal of the game. I'm the type of person who doesn't really care about side quests in video games. I have the main plotline or the main mission, whatever that I'm trying to accomplish, and that is all that I am aiming for. And that's how I started playing this game as well, but it's too cozy and nice not to go around helping the fellow people of this island, because you can technically get to the top of the mountain in like 30-40 minutes, but I ended up playing the game for like 3 hours or something. Oh, actually I didn't play for that long, I only played it for about 100 minutes. But still, you can get through the game really fast if you wanna, but the vibes, you don't wanna miss out on the vibes. It's so nice just going around this island and exploring what it has to offer. So if you like cozy, cute games, play A Short Hike. Ooh boy, time for another classic. Because next up, I played Celeste. Which, it's Celeste. It's incredible. It's a platformer where you play as a young girl named Madeline trying to figure out their own selves by climbing up this massive mountain named Celeste. There's a bunch of fun precision platforming and witty dialogue and emotional metaphors about self-acceptance at the root of the story, and it's such a good game. If you needed just one more person's word to know if Celeste was worth buying or not, then take mine, because you're here and listening to it right now. It's so good, buy it. Oh my god, if you like platformers of any kind, it's so crisp is how I would describe it. The art style and the incredibly snappy and intuitive controls and the music, it's all beautifully crisp and polished. It's so good. Take a shot every time I say it's so good or it's great or something like that about these video games. Anyway, and now for something completely different, because the next game I played was Vampire Survivors, which I can only describe as Substance Addiction, the video game. The game is basically just a wave-based killing simulator where a bunch of enemies come at you and you have to destroy them with these automatically activating weapons that you get to upgrade and get more of as your runs progress. And very quickly, if you know what you're doing, you can go from this to this. And the sheer amount of dopamine that this loop exudes is insane. Like, the concepts are so simple. There's enemies, you kill them. For killing them, you get experience. From experience, you can get new upgrades, with which you can become stronger and kill even more enemies, and the numbers keep going up and up and up until they cannot go up anymore. That is the entire premise of the game, and it keeps you hooked for hours upon hours upon hours because it's been so geniusly designed. And it's a perfect example of how even a very crude looking and sounding game, which Vampire Survivors definitely is, can be elevated to one of the best games ever simply if the game design part of the game is really well done, which in this case it is. The entire game is literally just number go up, but the numbers go up in such an incredible way that you simply cannot stop playing. And also the game is filled with stuff. I'm 30 hours into the game and I feel like I have barely scratched the surface. There is so much stuff to unlock in this game. Upgrades and characters and side quests, and there's so much to do here and it's all phenomenal. The ratio of how many enjoyable hours of gameplay you're paying for with this one is out of this world. So if you're not afraid to get addicted to a video game, then Vampire Survivors is the game for you. Then we make it into Halloween, during which I bought 2 spooky games, Amnesia: The Dark Descent and Amnesia: The Bunker. The Dark Descent is a classic horror game where you play as Daniel, a man who has induced amnesia, the name of the game, on themselves for a reason we do not understand as of yet, and have to go through this big mansion filled with scary monsters to figure out what's going on, whilst trying to keep our sanity alive by trying to not get into spooky situations as much as possible and keeping light around us as much as possible through external light sources like torches on the walls or this candle that you carry around with you everywhere. It's a really good survival horror game with a bunch of resource management and scary moments and atmosphere, and though the game is pretty old and predictable and therefore not necessarily scary, it still managed to invoke some fear in me, at least during the beginning of the game. But then I did a dumb thing where I got really impatient with the game and I went to look up some guides on how to do stuff, and then I learned that every single interaction with a monster in the game is scripted, and after that I just became not scared of the game at all. But had I not done that, I would surely have shit my pants at least on 1 or 2 occasions. But yeah, it's a really solid horror game that I suggest you play just for the sake of having played it, because it is a classic in the world of indie horror. And then on the opposite side of the scary scale, there's Amnesia: The Bunker, where you play as Henry, who is a soldier in the First World War who, after getting attacked by the enemy forces, finds themselves in a bunker underground without any memories of how they possibly got there. And also there is a big scary monster lurking around trying to get him. And I'm not gonna lie, I played this game for 30 minutes and have not played it since because it's genuinely too scary for me. I think I'm somewhat okay with horror games and getting scared, but this game is too much, man. I cannot play it. The entire concept of being stuck with a massive monster in an underground bunker is already claustrophobic and terrible enough as it is, but the fact that the AI is so much more advanced than I thought it would be and not scripted at all, I think, after the first 30 minutes of the game, and it'll just appear whenever, just that entire concept is a no-go for me. I cannot do that. Like, the first 30 minutes is basically just a tutorial. I didn't even get to the proper game, and the tutorial scared me so much that I just refused to play the game afterwards. Dear Lord, Amnesia: The Bunker. If you're in for a really scary experience, play The Bunker. Oh my god, play The Bunker. And the final game that I want to talk about is the only game that I broke the whole chronological order rule for, because I actually played this game before Vampire Survivors. Because this game is tied with Before Your Eyes as my favorite game I played this year. And that is TUNIC. You've probably seen TUNIC around here and there online. It's the game with this funny fox. But that's about everything that people that at least I've talked to really know about the game. They just know that there's a fox in it and that's that. But oh, it's so much more than just a fox. So the entire premise of TUNIC is that it's a game purely, well, almost purely written in a completely made up language, with some English words here and there. And throughout the game, you can find pages of a made-up manual for the game also in this fake language. So instead of relying on the text of the signs and the NPCs of the game, you instead have to use context clues from the very few English words, the pictures and scribblings in the manual, as well as your pure gamer instinct on where you need to go and what you need to do next. And the game itself is a Zelda dungeon crawler where you kill enemies and find weapons and find keys to open up parts further into previous levels, and everything's kinda interconnected and intertwined in some way, and then there's boss fights occasionally, and the game itself is fairly simple. However, this whole fake language thing transforms it into an experience that I have not had since I was like 7 years old. Because I live in a country where English is not an official first or second language, meaning I started learning it only when I was like 10 years old. So before that, I would play through games that mostly didn't have finished translations and just kind of assume what I had to do based on the very few English words that I kinda understood the meaning of, and also the general logic of how I had seen games work. And I didn't think I'd be able to get this feeling from a video game ever again, because nowadays I understand English and I'm able to play basically any game that there is that is in English. But nope, TUNIC managed to recreate and bring back that magic for me. I felt like a kid again, just kind of assuming what I had to do and then getting my mind blown when the thing that I assumed I was supposed to do was in actuality the thing that I was supposed to do. It was so much more rewarding for me than a lot of games are nowadays, honestly, because it felt like I did it. I didn't need any external hints, I didn't need any text or dialogue, I just needed a few pictures in a manual and my gamer wits. And that's another thing that I really like about this game, is that it feels like a celebration of being a person who has played video games before. Because if you have played games and you have an innate sense of game logic in your head and how these kinds of games are supposed to work, you will be able to get through this game without hints, just like me. And it's such a nice feeling knowing that that is the reason you got through the game. You were able to get through these fairly difficult puzzles. Like, some of the things you have to figure out in this game are really difficult, and the fact that one of the basically requirements for playing this game is that you have played other video games before is so cool. The idea that you solved these difficult puzzles purely off of the fact that you have enjoyed and studied and examined video games before feels like such a love letter to gamers. Like, hey, you know video games, you know how they work, here's a game where we're basically going to be just relying on that so you get through it. It's incredible. It's so fucking good, and it's so smartly designed as well. There were a few parts where I got stuck, but never too badly. All the answers to my questions were always an extra thought or two away. Yeah, it's not perfect. I've had a bit of a hard time with the combat occasionally, and also they have an auto-locking feature in the game, which I sincerely hate all auto-locking features in games. I get that sometimes that's just kind of what you have to do, but I hate them so much. I really wish this game hadn't had it, but oh well, it's what they decided to do, that's what we're living with. Like, I have a few nitpicks like that about the game where it's not perfect, but goddamn did it get close. TUNIC and Before Your Eyes are definitely my favorite games I played this year, but just because of how much of a celebration of gaming in general that TUNIC was, I wanted to leave it as the final game to talk about for this video. So there you have it, a list of games that I played this year that I liked a lot. Hopefully you got inspired to buy and play at least one of these games and support the great developers that made them, and I hope you had a good 2024, and if you didn't, that you have a better 2025. And also, I'd like to thank you for, most likely unintentionally, raising over €1,000 for various charities. Because at the beginning of the year, I made a community post that said half of the money the Walden Falls video made this year would be donated to the Finnish branch of Save the Children. I think the community posts originally said half the money within the first month of the video being out, because I didn't think it would get any views after that, but the video did indeed keep getting views, and because I was just so surprised by the amount of money it was able to make for charity, I decided that it would probably be the best to kind of split it between a few places. So at the end of the year here, 500 have gone to Save the Children already before this, but about half of the money the video made during the rest of the year will be going towards Red Cross Finland, which helps with similar things as Save the Children Finland, except that it's a bit more focused on like half humanitarian stuff, half Finland related stuff, and it's for people of all ages. Then I decided to give a little bit, don't worry, most of it is still going towards like super important humanitarian causes, but just because of how much it has helped me throughout these years, I decided to give €100 to freesound.org, which is a community-run sound effects library where you can download infinite amounts of great sound effects completely for free. The entire site runs on donations, and I have gotten every single sound effect I have ever used. Well, almost every sound effect I have ever used from that site. And I thought it would be good at the end here to give back to a fantastic creative resource without which my videos wouldn't exist. But that's just a tiny portion, worry not. And then the rest of the money, including the money that I still haven't gotten from this December, which I will be getting in January, will be going towards UNICEF, which is another charity specifically helping children during the many humanitarian crises unfortunately happening around the world. So yeah, overall the total amount was somewhere in the ballpark of €1,300 or something like that, and the fact that we were able to give that much to these great causes during these very scary times is incredible, and probably one of the best ways this year could have ended on the channel, or this era could have ended on the channel. So cheers for watching my silly little videos about blue rabbits and various video games, because if you hadn't, we wouldn't have been able to end the year on such a nice note. Thank you so very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me throughout this entire video, even if you just put this on the background whilst doing something else. And I'll see you whenever I see you next. Bye!